Ctrl T. So when I select data and press Ctrl T, you get this dialog box, which is create table. And so the selected range is shown here. So whenever you see this kind of range, try to understand that where is the starting and ending point. So don't just think that these are some kind of figures they will automatically populate. They have some logic. So logic is here, you can see a dollar a dollar two. So which means whenever the dollar is applied to any particular row or column, so that means that particular cell is fixed with respect to the column and row. So uh, so this is a fixed cell which is a2. If we ignore the dollar, we see a2. So starting with a2, this is the starting point, and ending point would be g16. So you can see there is a colon and G16. So this is a range of the cells we have selected. Okay, now you see the checkbox here, which shows my table has headers. So yes, my table has header, and header is this one, which is with the black background. If your table is not having the header, then you can uncheck this, but I will keep it selected. You can also actually change this data which is selected from here. So suppose if I select this and press backspace, so now the data is removed. So I can actually make my new selection here. So you see new selection is from here, where A6 to G12, A6 to G12. Okay, but now what I want, the complete table. So I will select from here. Okay, so selection matters most in this case when we are creating the table, and especially when you have header. Okay, then click on OK. You see, the moment I click OK, this structure is changed. So how to identify whether it's in tabular format or not? So you can see there are some filters applied to, because you have given the instruction that your table has a header. So that means this header will be having this filtering options. So when you click on this option, you will see the multiple filtering options. For now, just understand that this is a table. So you see on top side, there are some ribbon tabs. So home, insert, and all these things, and help is the last ribbon tab. The moment I click inside here, you see after help, what happened? When I click here, you see there is one new tab, which is table design, that is added. So this is an indication that you are inside the table. So the range of the table would be the selection range from A2 to G16. So whenever in between this region you click or you select section, you will see this table design ribbon tab. And also at the bottom right corner, you will see this special icon here. This is the end of the table. Okay. Now if you click on the table design, see I click on the table design. Here you get the additional options in this ribbon bar, and all the multiple groups are here. So this is your table as a starting point. So your table should have some kind of name. So by default, Excel keep it is as table 1. You can see here the name is table 1. In a table name, spaces are not allowed. The table name should start with a letter. So that means alphabetical letter A, B, C, D. So here you can see that 2021. So it start with 2. So uh, either you can start with the letter like sales order, or if you wanted to start with number, then what you need to do, you need to add underscore before it. Now this name is applied to this table. Now we are in the table design is there. So you can see there is a header row is checked, because earlier we mentioned that now my table has a header. If you click on this, so that means your table header is not there. So immediately the header row will be not visible here. So if you want back, then you will click on the header row. There is a one checkbox which is total row. So what this will allow, it will actually do the total and it will add one row below. So if I click on total row, you can see Excel automatically added total here, and at the end it identified that this is the total, so it made a sum. So if I double click this one, you can see that subtotal is this one. Okay, these are the table style. If I click on the first column, then it will highlight with this table style. So what are my table style? On the right hand side, you can see these are the table styles. So you can change the table style here. If you wanted to highlight the last column, you can highlight the last column. And if you wanted to, okay. So prior to that, I will uncheck all these first and last column, banded columns. So you can see the columns are banded. Banded means there is an alternate, like the dark color is here and then the faint color is here. So that means the rows are banded. You can see whole row are in this table are banded. So it is mentioned here, banded rows. If I uncheck, then the banded is removed. So it's all in one color. So that's the only difference. So banded row helps you to actually visualize the data clearly like this. And also there is an option which is banded columns. So, but generally we use banded rows only. And based on your selection, this table style changes. And if you increase maximize this one, so you can see the table style. You can hover the mouse cursor and change the style of this table. So I will keep it as default. If you wanted to customize as per your need, you can change from the table style. Okay, so simple enough to understand this table design. So there is one resize option is there, which is resize. So if you wanted to include any more rows or something, then you can actually make changes in the selection. So your selection will be changed. So this is a table data, and the specialty of the table I will show you. So I will remove this total rows here. Okay, so now this is your data, and if you wanted to add the new row, like new data in this same table, so what you need to just do, you need to go to the last row, last blank row here, and suppose I will write 2020. So 2020 January 15. So you see, the moment I press tab key or the right arrow key, this whole row gets banded. Banded means you can see that this row becomes a part of this table now. This row becomes a part of this table selection. And you can see the bottom right corner, there is this icon. So this icon indicates that this is your table. This is the limit of table. And the same way as you can actually add the row data below the table, same way you can actually add the columns to the table. So you don't need to actually create a table again. If I add here, it's like my data something, then this is not a part of table. But why? Because this this cell is not connected to this table. What you need to do is you need to write next to the table. Only that column will be considered as a part of that data. So see, now when I press enter key here, see, this column, this cell becomes part of this existing table, and all the banded things are applied. And here you can see the filter here, and the bottom right corner, this icon goes to this side from here to here. Okay, now you will ask me that, Abhijit, here everything is showing as like borders are there, and here why no border? Because initially we applied this border. These are not the table design border. So initially when we created this data, we have actually applied this border. Okay, so when you go to the table design, you the based on your selection. So let me select this one. Okay, so why these styles are there? So these styles means you are applying the formatting. So here I can see in this section there are horizontal line. In this section there are all the borders are applied. So if I click this one, so then all my data has a border, banded rows, and the filtering is applied. So when I apply test 2 here, you can see the borders are here. So typically now in this case I don't need to add the borders again and again to each row or column. It will get added because my table design is such that it has a border. So your table design matters in this case of when there is a formatting is required. Okay, so this is my data, and now I will add the total row. So okay, so let me add some value here, and let me drag this till this point, enter. and same value to here. Okay, now uncheck this one, total row, this one. So I will need to drag this formula here like that. Okay, so this is a way you can convert your range of the data into the table. And this is a resize table here. You see there is a A2 to I17. So the selection we haven't changed, but the selection automatically changes based on your addition to this column and the row. So I17. So selection is increased. Now if I add one more column, and if I go to table design and resize table, you can see there is a J17. So this automatically updates the range of the selection. Now if I delete this row and delete this column, then if I go to table design and resize table, you can see A2 to I16. Now 17 is not there, 17 row is removed, and J is not there, I is there. So I is 17. These are the default ribbon tabs, and this table design is a contextual ribbon tab. So contextual ribbon tab means it adds based on the context, and it gets removed from based on the context. So now I am inside table. If I select outside table, you see this table design ribbon tab is removed. And now the next thing is I wanted to convert this tabular format into the normal ranges, where from table to normal ranges, table design, and there is a one option which is convert to ranges. And Excel ask you that do you want to convert the table to a normal range? So I will say yes. See, immediately what happens? Immediately this data, you will see this filtering is gone. The bottom right corner, this icon. So when I select these ranges, you see there is no ribbon tab, which is table design.